Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel, where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own personal struggles, having borderline personality disorder, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety disorder and severe panic attacks, depression. I talk about narcissism and my narcissistic mother who used to beat me. I talk about schizophrenia and my schizophrenic father who was in and out of mental institutes all my life. I talk about all the different therapies and my unethical psychologists who raped me, other ones who sexually exploited me. I talk about a plethora of other mental health related topics, but I only come on as a former patient of almost 20 years. I am not a licensed therapist. I do not hold a degree in psychology, so I cannot diagnose you or offer you a professional opinion. All I ask in turn of you is your kindness and respect in the comments. Please be kind to me and respectful. Be kind to other people who comment. We don't need to agree on everything. Variety is the spice of life after all. But we do always need to show each other respect and kindness. Now, if you are new to my channel, welcome. Stick around, take a chance. Hit that little box on the right hand corner down below that says subscribe. It's 100% free, and that way there you will be alerted every time a new video of mine comes up. If you like what you see, give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. Share it on social media. Please comment if you'd like to, and tell me about your personal struggles and experiences, and let's have an ongoing dialogue here and learn from one another, growing this community each and every day, spreading the love. Today's topic is, can you die of a broken heart? What is broken heart syndrome? Is there really such a thing? Is it real? I'll tell you how I came up with the idea of this topic, because I research a lot of topics for these videos. I put a lot of time and effort into what do I want to talk about with everyone, and do I have enough personal experience to bring to my videos. Well, I watch soap operas, and the soap opera I've been watching for a long time now, many years, is Bold and Beautiful. How many of you guys like soap operas? I like to escape, the drama of my own life by, delving into the stories and plots on the soap opera. And one of the plots on my soap opera is this woman, she's a psychiatrist, she plays a psychiatrist, is having broken heart syndrome. She thinks she's dying of heart disease, and some doctors told her that she has heart disease. And then she went for a second opinion with another doctor, and they said there's no sign of heart disease. What you have is broken heart syndrome. And she is carrying a torch for her ex-husband. She's still madly in love with him. I'm not going to go into the soap opera and the plot and everything else, but this is what gave me the idea to do this video. So I looked up broken heart syndrome. I did a little research before coming on here, and it does mimic heart disease, and it does mimic a heart attack, and you can die from it. And it is real. You can die from a broken heart, all right? I did the research. You can do the research. You can Google it. They say that Debbie Reynolds, when she found out her daughter, Carrie Fisher, died, the shock of her daughter's death was so profound that she died the very next day of a broken heart. So this is true. You can die of a broken heart. What happens when your body goes under extreme stress is cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone, and it can wreak havoc on your body. And too much of that can stop your heart from pumping. I mean, it mimics a heart attack. You can have severe chest pain, shortness of breath. You can pass out, drops in your blood pressure. I mean, I'm not here as a medical person to talk about medical conditions, but I am here as a person that can talk about my own personal experience around broken hearts. Now, the psychologist that I had sex with for 2 years, Dr. James Barbaria, I did tons and tons of videos about the hell he put me through. He died of broken heart syndrome. Now, why do I say that? I'm not a doctor. Because I did go to a doctor. I had another psychologist, Dr. Eugene Pagani from Newton. He was the one who told me that Dr. James Barbaria died. He told me that Jim died. The psychologist who had sex with you for 2 years died. And I said, how do you know that? And he said, I saw it on today's obituary. And I said, you can't, that can't be true, because he was only 62 and he was in perfect health. And, you know, he looked like he was 40. He didn't look his age, okay? He looked like he was 20 years younger, and he was physically fit. He had a six-pack. He never drank. He never smoked. He exercised religiously every day. And he always went to doctors for checkups. He didn't miss checkups and everything. So I said, I don't believe you. But he went up and he got the obituary and he showed me. And there enough was his picture on the obituary. Dr. James Barbaria of Jamaica Plain died suddenly. I contacted a friend of his and asked him, you know, how did he die? And his best friend told me that he died. He just collapsed in his office. There was no warning or anything. He just collapsed and died instantly. And when I was discussing this with Dr. Pagani, my other psychologist, he told me, his exact words to me were, Jim broke his heart. He didn't say that I broke his heart. He said that he broke his own heart. Now, how is it possible to break your own heart? This is a professional doctor who was a doctor for like over 40 years at this point, who I trusted. So he's telling me that the psychologist who had sex with me in a 2-year affair died of a broken heart. But I wasn't the one who caused it. He said he broke his own heart because I did go to the licensing board and I made a formal complaint and it was under investigation. I think what was happening was his lawyer probably told him that he needed to surrender his license, that he didn't want it to go to trial because I had so much evidence, so much proof of what he did to me. I had like hundreds and hundreds of emails. I had cards. I had pictures. I had other people who were involved in this, other psychologists that could prove that he was unethical and raped me. I had proof, okay? So his lawyer probably told him that he needed to surrender his license, and he couldn't face that. He couldn't face the fact of what he did, you know, that he raped a patient, and that he would have to tell all of his patients, all 40 patients, that he can no longer see them because of his actions. He had to give up his license, and he could no longer practice therapy. And he couldn't face doing that. I know because when I was dating him, he told me that he could never do that. He could never bring himself to tell his patients what he did, or anyone else for that matter. He could never do that. So he couldn't live with the disgrace. So he died with dignity. He collapsed. It wasn't a conscious choice. He collapsed because he couldn't bring himself to face the horrible, horrible things he did. He was banging, he was screwing a borderline patient who went to him for mental health, and who was married, who had children. He couldn't face it. So he just collapsed. He died of a broken heart. Now this is really true. You can die of a broken heart. I came very close to dying of a broken heart. I mean, I had all the signs: shortness of breath, dizziness, severe chest pain. When my son was brutally beaten, by a staff member. I talked about this in other videos. My son is an invalid. He has traumatic brain injury, TBI, from an illness, pneumococcal meningitis, when he was 4 years old. And as such, he's 6'2", 185 pounds. He's 29 years old, and he's an invalid. He needs around-the-clock, 24/7 care. And so he's in one of these places, just like a nursing home. Think of it like that. When you're elderly, your parents can't take care of themselves anymore. Some people put them in, a lot of people put them in nursing homes because they can't take care of their parent 24/7. They have their own lives. They can't take care of their parents. So they're put into a nursing home where they have staff. And nursing homes a lot of them abuse the elderly in nursing homes. You hear about this all the time. And my son was put in a placement place like a nursing home, except for, not elderly people. It was for people with severe psychological, neurological injuries that cannot take care of themselves. Not physical limitations, neurological, brain-related illnesses. And the staff member beat him up brutally. He was hospitalized. The police were called. So when I found this out, I was in shock. I took a bottle. I was killing myself. I would almost kill myself. I kept drinking vodka. I kept pouring vodka, and I said, I want to die. I don't want to live. I want to die. And at the same time that this happened, my psychologist, Dr. Richard Geis, I called, and told him there's a crisis, there's an emergency. Please call me back. And that whole weekend, he ignored me. He blew me off. When my next session with him, I told him I was in a crisis. You didn't do anything. And he goes, well, I was busy. I was tied up. So he treated me with contempt, not like saying, oh my God, I'm so sorry. That's horrible what happened. He just treated me with contempt. He didn't even look me in the face when I asked him, I was in a crisis. I was in an emergency. Why didn't you call me back? He turned his whole body away. He wouldn't even look me in the face like I'm looking you guys in the face now. He turned his whole body away like this. Wouldn't even look at me and chewed my head off. So I dumped his ass, and I reported him to the licensing board. But then on top of that, my son was kicked out because the place that staff member beat him up, that place wanted to whitewash the whole thing. They didn't want anything to do with the situation. So they kicked my son out. They fired the staff person who beat my son. So then they would whitewash the whole thing like it never happened. So there was no place to put my son. So my son was put in this broom closet, this cell. It was horrendous. And he was beaten up there. I started drinking heavy, 4 or 5 vodka drinks every single day. I started having severe chest pains. I was slowly dying. I said I was shattered. I know what it's like to be shattered. Not broken. I was already broken before any of this happened. I was already a broken woman. But now I was completely shattered. And it felt like I was dying. Like a slow, agonizing death. It felt like I couldn't function. All I do was drink vodka. I couldn't sleep. I had severe insomnia. Now, all of this is going to impact your body. No sleep, heavy drinking, severe panic attacks. Panic attacks can mimic this. How many of you have panic attacks? Not just feel nervous, or stressed. Full-blown panic attacks. Like, you pass out, you black out, your heart races, you feel like you're losing your mind, you feel like you're dying. A panic attack for many people, especially for me, feels like I'm completely dying. I'm dead. I'm dying. Life is over as I see it, as I know it. And I had this constantly, and this high levels of cortisol, this high stress, morning, noon, and night, week after week, month after month, for years, can wreak havoc on your body. Remember, in other videos, and a lot of people believe this too, not just me, that the physical and mental are entwined. Okay? If you are suffering emotionally, that is going to affect you physically. All right? You're going to have physical symptoms from that. If you are suffering physically, like say you had cancer, and just getting that diagnosis of cancer, just getting that diagnosis before any treatment or anything begins, can affect you gravely emotionally. So the two are entwined like this. You know what I mean? This is a yoga. You know this yoga pose? The two are entwined. So I thought for sure I was slowly dying. I was shattered. A lot of going through that horrible, horrible time made me want to share it all. I've written books, many, many books about what happened to me, my therapist raping me, about my son. And I started doing, a year ago, this mental health channel. It was already another channel. It was a karaoke channel. But I turned that into a mental health channel a year ago. I've been doing this for a year now, this mental health channel, because I wanted to share my personal struggles, and I thought other people might benefit from me sharing my personal struggles, knowing they're not alone, and not coming on as like a doctor or like a therapist, someone like trained in this, just coming on as me, a person suffering with these things like other people out there who are suffering. And so how did I pull out of that, broken heart? I mean, my heart was shattered, okay? My son was brutally beaten and thrown into a prison cell. And I'm not lying to you. And he was beaten again, got a bloody nose in that prison cell. Not by a staff member, but by another person, another mentally disturbed, emotionally disturbed person who was in there with him. Beat him up and gave him a bloody nose. And it was just like the house that he was in was like the Amityville Horror. How many people have seen Amityville Horror? It was that house. I'm not kidding you. Where my son was put in was that house. There was no control because the state will, if a place kicks you out, the state takes over and has to place you into. Right now, we found a beautiful house. It's over $1 million where he's staying now. It's in Boston. It's only 20 minutes away. Right now, he's situated in a good place, but it took a long time to get there. And I'm still not over what happened to me. And I'm still, because I don't trust anymore. I don't go to therapy anymore. I haven't been in therapy in 3 years since all this happened. So I'm trying to deal with this all on my own, which is very hard, because I'm my own therapist now. I have to be my own best friend. I have no friends. I have to be my own therapist. And I'm telling you, it's every day is a struggle for me. Every day getting out of that bed is a struggle. But I wanted to talk about this subject because I thought it was important to bring up about broken heart syndrome. And that it does mimic heart disease. It does mimic a heart attack. But it's real. You can look it up yourself. If you don't believe me, you can Google it yourself. You can find out the symptoms for yourself. And you can find out, it is really, I thought I was very close to dying myself when my heart was, like I said, I was shattered. I was completely shattered when I found out about my son. And my therapist, Dr. Richard Geis, of 16 years, turned his back on me when I needed him the most. I didn't have any friends. The one person in this world who, I thought I could turn to, treated me with contempt, maliciously, and like dirt under his feet. And, it just, I said I was slowly dying. I was drinking myself into a slow death. I was having all those symptoms of a heart attack, severe chest pain, dizziness, short of breath. I thought for sure, you know, I wasn't going to make it out the other end of it. You know, I thought for sure. And every day was, you know, drowning myself in alcohol, heavier and heavier, you know, just, I didn't want to live. I didn't want to live with the pain. I wanted to numb. I wanted to numb all the pain. I couldn't go on anymore like that. Luckily, I did not collapse like Dr. James Barbaria did. I think the reason why I didn't collapse where he did is because of my husband. My husband was there all night up with me, listening to me when I needed to talk, because my husband saved my life. He saved my life because he was the only person there, the only person, nobody else, no one else ever listened to me, ever cared about me. No one else cares. No one else listened to me. Girlfriends just wrapped up in themselves. No one else asked, how are you doing? You know, no one bothered. No one cared about me. Except for my husband. And so I think that I survived the broken heart syndrome because I had such a, you know, wonderful husband who was there with me through the whole ordeal. All right. He was there with me through everything, through being raped by my psychologist, through our son being brutally beaten and hospitalized. The trial is still going on with that staff member who beat. The trial is still going on. Years in the court system. Things take years. Look at, you know, court cases, famous court cases, murder cases. They take years, right, to resolve. And, you know, it's just been a struggle. Every day I try to stay focused. This is how I work on my broken heart. I try to stay focused on what I can do to improve my life. So I cut back the drinking. I only drink wine now instead of vodka. I only drink 2 glasses of wine instead of 4 or 5 vodka drinks. I exercise every day. I go out into nature every day. I write. I've written books about what happened, so I'm sharing my story. And most importantly is these videos. You know, I'm doing these videos. I feel like I have a purpose now in my life. I'm putting all that into something positive, you know, sharing my experiences with you guys and hoping enabling you, my subscribers, to share your experiences with me, because I would love to hear from you. I love when people comment. I always answer the comments back. So let's have an ongoing discussion about this. Do you believe in broken heart syndrome? Do you believe that you can die of a broken heart? Or do you think that that's silly, that's foolish, that there's no such thing? Or what do you think? Have you known anyone who died of a broken heart? Let me know. Let's have an ongoing discussion about this. It's a very important topic that needs to be addressed and, you know, talked about more. I don't know many channels cover about broken hearts, but let me know what you think. Let me know about your experiences in the comments. And until next time, I hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.